5 overhated albums from 2017. I don't know why I'm doing this list. Like, what is the point in doing this list? Like, you would think I'm doing this list because, oh, he's here to defend some albums that everyone else hates, but I'm not. Like, I'm not actually doing that. It's more just the fact that all these albums have been, like, tipped as some of the worst of the year, and I'm just kind of like, why? You know, why? Some of these albums I think are actually good, and some of them I do think aren't good at all, but the point of the list is to kind of just highlight the fact that I don't think they're that bad, but I just see a lot of people saying bad things about them. That's really why. Like, it's not because, oh, this is actually an album that I love. It's just offering a different opinion. I couldn't really be bothered to do a worst albums of the year. Everyone's doing worst albums of the year, so I thought I'd throw in a bit of a curveball and do kind of like the opposite to it and be like, oh, here are 5 albums that are overhated, instead of going on about the worst ones, because I don't really want to go and highlight the worst of the year, because it just doesn't really, it's just not something that I want to do. I can't really be arsed with that. This isn't an ordered list. I'm just going to run down 5 albums and talk about them. So I'm going to start the list with Alt J, Relaxer. Now, I definitely overrated this one when I first reviewed it. I think I gave it a B. I don't really know why, because it's honestly their worst album. But just as a band, Alt J, just over and over and over again, just keep getting so much hate. Like, I don't think they're that bad. I know the vocals are a little weird, and they do have some odd choices. There was one song on this album that was really out of touch for their style, and it was probably the worst song they've ever made. But aside from that, I don't see what's so controversial about this band. Like, I don't get why so many people think they're terrible. If anything, they're just at worst they're just okay, but I don't think they're that bad. But I've seen a lot of people, you know, Pitchfork always give their reviews like a 4 out of 10, and some other people say that this album was really bad. I don't know, I just think it was just okay, you know. It's their worst album, but it's not really anything to be angry about. It's just sometimes it's decent folk music, other times it's folk rock that's kind of, you know, flourishes and comes out with some really cool ideas. But again, don't really think this one's really anything to be mad about. Next on my list, perhaps the worst album on this list, because I will go as far as saying that I don't like this album, but Lil Yachty's Teenage Emotions, or Teen Emotions, like, you know, I think this is pretty bad overall, considering it was about an hour and 20 minutes or something, or an hour and 15 minutes, and it was way too long. Lil Yachty as a rapper isn't that compelling. His lyrics at times are pretty bad. The music on this album sunk to really low lows. Like, I thought Lil Boat was alright. Nothing too impressive. Kind of fun. Auto-tune, crooning, trap rap that had some nice tracks on there. But this one, he really tried to venture off into these different styles, like on Bring It Back, which is a terrible song. But just some people are really, like, shitting all over this. I don't think it's that bad. And I think the thing that pisses me off the most is that everyone that hates this album goes on about the lyrics. Now, the thing is with Lil Yachty, it's that he's trolling you. Like, he's literally trolling you. Like, these lines, that cello line, all the bad lyrics on this album, he is trolling you. Like, he is taking the piss, and no one seems to get it. Like, he's trying to be anti-hip-hop in a way. Like, he's trying to throw in these stupid lyrics just for the fun of it, and yet everyone seems to get really mad at how bad of a lyricist he is. Yeah, he's not a good lyricist, I'll give you that, but he's not trying to be good. So why is everyone, like, so mad about how bad the lyrics are? It's just taking the piss. Anyone else takes a piss in music, people just say it's funny, but Lil Yachty doesn't really get that pass, and I don't know, again, the album's not good, but it's not that bad either. I haven't seen this one on any worst lists, but when it came out, so many reviews came out for this album and, like, panned it, and I don't get why. I'm not a Sam Smith fan, but the Thrill It whole album was just okay. Like, the issue with the album was that it was so bare to the bones. Like, it needed more melody, it needed more instrumentation, because when he fired it up, like on tracks like Baby You Make Me Crazy, he can belt out a great tune. He really can. Those soulful, jazzy jams when he comes through are really good. But like everyone was like saying this was terrible. Like why? Just because he's mainstream, you just don't want to accept that a mainstream artist has a good voice, has a decent talent for like making a piano ballad. I misspeak all the time. Why does anyone follow me on this channel? Seriously, man, I flub my words all the time. Piano ballad, he makes a good one when he can. But yeah, like Pitchfork was, panned it. Fantano gave it a 4 out of 10. Drowned in Sound gave it a 4 out of 10. Like, what? Like, this isn't bad music. It's just, it might be boring at points. Yeah, I'd give you that. But, like, a good vocalist, some decent production. Like, why can you call this a bad album? It's not that bad. It just could have been better, really. I think Sam Smith has a lot of talent, so I don't know why people really hate on him. Yeah, just a confusing one that I saw a lot of people hate, so I thought I'd throw this one on the list. But let me know if you did listen to this and what you thought, because not that many people reviewed it, really. It was kind of like a sophomore slump for him, in terms of the critical acclaim, because the first one did get a lot of positive reviews, but like sold well as well, whereas this one sold well, but no one really cared about it. But I don't know, I just thought it was okay. Lil Pump's Lil Pump. Again, don't like this album, but I can appreciate the production, because if you want banging instrumentals, this is the album you go to. Like, I know you could go to Run the Jewels, you could go to so many other artists for bangers in hip-hop, but for 2017, in terms of bangers go, I wouldn't say Lil Pump is a bad one to look at, really. Now, the issue I had with this album, and I said this in my review and I still stand by it, is that this guy can't write a hook. Like, he says the same word 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times, and apparently that's a hook, but it's not. And yeah, of course, lyrically, this guy isn't exactly on point either, but he is like 17. I mean, I don't think I was able to do anything like good when I was 17, like fucking hell. But the thing is, I know a lot of people, oh well, oh, Nas was 16 when he wrote Illmatic, Lorde was 16 when she wrote Pure Heroin, and she's still young when she wrote Melodrama. Well, yeah, you know what, if you're gonna go into every album by a young artist and pin them up against other young artists that are very talented, then you're kinda doing it wrong, because not every artist is that talented in the same way. The super talented young artists that make incredible music before they're even hitting the age of 18 are anomalies in the music world. You don't get them often, so you're not gonna get it with every time you listen to an album. If you want to go listen to Nas's Illmatic, then do, because it's amazing, but that's not really the same as a Lil Pump album. This album quite clearly is for the party context, so if you're sat in your bedroom listening to this on your headphones moaning on Twitter about how shit it is, then you're really doing it wrong, I'm sorry. Like, you're listening to an album wrong. Like, you are literally listening to an album wrong. I don't know how you can, but you are in this context, because I just don't think it's for that setting. If you put this on at a party with all your friends, people are going to probably jump around and dance, but realistically, no one's going to really pay attention, because it's a party, people are just kind of bothered about their drinks, they're talking to their friends. So this works in that context, because the lyrics are pointless, and you go to a party, you're listening to the music for the music, so that's kind of the point. I know Sean C said something about this, like, oh, well, when you take it out of that context and you focus on what's going on, you realise how bad it is. But you're taking it out of context at your own will. You're doing it at your own will. Like, you're doing it wrong, really, because you're taking it out of the context it's meant to be. You can't look at every piece of music the same way just because you're a critic. You can't just say, well, I review albums all the same way because they're all albums and they all get my same sort of listening experience. I just don't think that's the right way to do it. And my other point with this album is that it's meme music. Like, this is quite clearly like a meme, Gucci Gang. It's not really got any meaning to it. It's just there for the meme. D-Rose. Like, these are phrases that he's trying to coin for the sake of just saying them, and it kind of worked. It resonated with a lot of people. He got a top 3 hit in America, and it works. So I don't know, I just feel like if you're just moaning about how bad this is, you're kind of missing the point. It's not serious music. There's nothing to this that you're supposed to consume and chew onto in a way that's going to get your head thinking. If you hate the sound of it, that's fine, but again, I think it is just plainly banger after banger after banger, and I don't think there's much to hate about it. It's not that good. Like, I don't think it's worthy of being on your albums of the year list or getting an honourable mention, but it's not really the worst of the year either. And finally, Taylor Swift with Reputation. Again, I don't know why I'm defending this, because I didn't like this album, but it's really not that bad. There were some really good songs on here. Like, I think the more I listened to it, the more they got better, but overall, as an album, the flow was terrible. There were some really awful singles on here, some of the worst singles of the year, like Look What You Made Me Do and Ready For It, like, were just trash, like absolute horrendous songs that I can't defend, but just I think as a whole, the album did have some good songs on here. There were a decent few ballads like Delicate. Getaway Car was produced by Jack Antonoff, which is always quite welcoming in pop music because he's a decent producer, and that song was pretty good. I just think a lot of people tried to read into this a lot more than they needed to, because I think the singles led you to believe one thing, but the album as a whole didn't really have that sort of same aesthetic, and I just didn't think it was terrible, honestly. Even though I don't like the album, I don't think it's worthy of being one of the worst of the year. Like, if you were to put this album next to Linkin Park's album, Chainsmokers' album, 21 Savage's album, Eminem's album, mate, I would pick Taylor Swift any day. So I don't think this really is as bad as some people said, to be honest. It just has a lot of bad moments. Yeah, but again, don't like the album. Don't really like many of these albums on the list, to be honest, but just wanted to do this list because I thought it'd be kind of fun and unique. Let me know what you thought of all these albums, if you thought they were terrible, and give me your reasons as to why they were terrible. And tell me if you actually liked any of these albums. I know Lil Pump got a lot of fans this year, but I do see a lot of haters too. I just wanted to address that album again. And yeah, tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you thought was overhated in 2017. Yes, and have a good day. Have a good day.